Hi, I'm Robert Borton, CEO of Classical Conversations, the world's largest classical Christian homeschooling community. I'm launching a new podcast, Refining Rhetoric. If you like cross politics or just listen to hear what crazy stuff they're saying today, you will enjoy Refining Rhetoric. You can find us on your favorite podcast platform. I practice the 15 tools of learning by interviewing great guests, looking at current events, and talking about cryptocurrency.
Hey y'all, welcome to Cross Politic on the Fight Laugh Feast Network. Pastor Toby, Chuck Knox, I'm the Water Boy. The CREC, that's our denomination, Communion of Reformed Evangelicals. It's a small denomination, but we
make a lot of noise.
We seem to be making a lot of noise. Yeah, we got Pastor Michael from Iowa coming on to talk about some viral noise that he's made recently. So hang around for that.
Throwing his weight around in Iowa. Classical Conversations supports homeschooling parents by cultivating the love of learning through a Christian worldview and fellowship with other families. They provide a classical, Christ-centered curriculum, local like-minded communities across the United States and in several countries across the world. They train parents who are striving to be great classical educators in the home. For more information and to get connected, please visit their website today at classicalconversations.com. Again, that's classicalconversations.com.
Doesn't he have a podcast out to refining
rhetoric?
Rhetoric, yes, thank you. Make sure I got it right.
Yeah, I think
Good stuff. He just had Nancy Pearcey on.
That's what I saw. I haven't caught it yet. We're really grateful to have with us Pastor Michael Shover. Reverend Michael Shover served in the United States Navy from 2000 to 2004, graduated from Cairn University, and then earned his MDiv at Reformed Episcopal Seminary in Bluebell, PA. Pastor Shover is the pastor of Christ the Redeemer Church, which is a CREC sister congregation to our churches here in Moscow, out in Pella, Iowa. Pastor Mike, thanks for joining us on Cross Politic.
Hey, thanks guys for having me. I'm really glad to be here with you all today.
Absolutely. Well, I'm not sure you were glad a week ago when this happened.
Get you to do that for their evil bastards. Oh, you're gonna push me too? You're gonna push me too? I'll press charges. I'll lock your pedophile ass up so fast.
I'm not a pedophile, but why is pedophilia wrong? Why is pedophilia wrong? I mean, all of you.
That screech, though.
I know.
So
they cut the video off.
I know,
Right.
Pastor Mike, so first of all, just back up. How did you find yourself in this very special place?
And screaming in public, why is pedophilia wrong?
But where are you? It looks like you're in some kind of government building. Where are you, and what is the occasion, and then what led to this particular exchange that has gone all over the world?
Sure. Yeah. So I am at that clip. I'm at the Iowa Capitol building. The governor had called a special session to bring back the 6-week abortion ban, right? The heartbeat bill that she had signed 5 years ago. Now that Roe v. Wade has been overturned, she's bringing it back again. And so the House of Representatives and the Senate were going to pass that legislation on that day. And so me and another family from church and another fellow minister went with people from his family and his congregation, went to just support them. And I got there somewhere around 9:30 or so in the morning, and the place was just filled with pro-abortionists. They were very loud. They were very organized. They had their signs. They had their tables up. They had their everything. And they were just screaming, and they were right outside of the House. I was just standing right in the middle of called the rotunda, and kind of where the big dome is. And I've been there maybe for 5 minutes, and I heard a lull in the screeching, and I don't know, it was like the Spirit of God rushed upon me. I did not plan to do this. And I was kind of surprised that I was doing it while I'm in the middle of doing it. But I just shout out, stop murdering babies. And it resounded throughout the whole rotunda.
And
so that way everybody got quiet. And then all those people turned around and looked at me. And I screamed it again, shouted it again, stop murdering babies. And at that time, like the demons let loose. They all started surrounding me. They started screaming at me and yelling at me, calling me a pedophile. That one lady, a couple of people were trying to hit me with their signs, and it was just chaos. It lasted maybe about a minute and a half. And then that was one of those occasions right there, that viral edited clip there at the end, where she said, "I'll lock your pedophile ass up," and I said, "Well, what's wrong with pedophilia?" And I was asking the question not because I don't think that there's anything wrong with pedophilia.
Right.
I believe it's a great moral evil. I'm there trying to defend the unborn,
right,
those who can not protect and defend themselves. I also believe that people should be defending children who are born as well, from all manners of things. But I was asking the question because all of them are radical leftists, right? And if you were to continue with that clip where they cut it off, and some people have followed, have shown the whole context, and it's hard to hear in those other videos because of the screaming. But I said, all of you support the LGBTQ plus agenda. The plus refers to pedophiles. You all support pedophiles. You all want to support raping children. You all are defending this. You have no moral standard by which to judge what is right and wrong. And so I was trying to do a kind of a Van Tillian presuppositionalist flip on them, and just to say that on the one hand, while they're murdering children, they're advocating murdering children on the one hand, they're going to pretend like they actually care about children on the other hand,
right,
by calling me a pedophile or whatever. And I was just trying to show their hypocrisy and their inconsistency.
So this tweet was, I think, probably at least one of the ones that went around. Iowa pastor from Christ the Redeemer Church in Pella, Iowa, has gone viral on TikTok. I don't think we've ever gone viral on TikTok, have we?
We're trying.
And we're trying, but yeah, it turns out
maybe after today.
For supporting pedophilia. He asked on camera, "Why is pedophilia wrong?" at the Iowa State Capitol on July 11th. Meet Pastor Michael Shover. And just so everybody knows that Cross Politics is fair, here's the full clip. We actually have the full clip. Here's the longer one.
Why is pedophilia wrong? I mean, all of you are supportive of LGBTQ and the plus and the You have no standard of what is right and wrong. You have to sign out my face.
Don't touch me!
Oh, assault.
Don't touch me. My sign. Don't touch my sign.
So were they calling you pedophile before this clip? When you got there, was that already something they were yelling at you?
Yeah, that one big guy that's there to my right.
Yeah,
he might have been one of the guys that started it. He was the first guy that kind of got in my face, and he was calling me that. It was almost like I thought about it afterwards. I don't know if it's like a strategy that they have, like right away, like, oh, you see clergy, go right for the pedophile thing. Like, because it was like almost like or maybe the demons were talking to each other and they all just kind of knew. But that was kind of the party line that they were coming at me right away.
So I saw the tweet. I actually was I was paying attention to the caucus that was going on in Iowa with the Blaze, and in my feed this pops up was her tweet saying, here goes a pedophile pastor. And I'm like, okay, what? I didn't even really pay attention to the tweet for the most part and kept scrolling by. And then I look, like, oh, this guy's part of the CREC. I'm like, oh, well, what's going on here?
Yeah.
What has happened? Because that tweet went viral. It just showed up in my feed.
Yeah.
I don't think we have any other connection outside of the CREC. I don't know if we follow each other on Twitter or not. But what has happened since this tweet has went viral to you?
Yeah. So what happened is I have received and my church has received a whole bunch of emails and phone calls from people who are angry with me, who think I'm a pedophile, people have supposedly threatened to, or maybe have called the FBI. People are threatening to protest. They didn't show up. Pastors are coming, and I'm going to lose my job and all these things. And they're trying to dox me, which is hilarious, because if they knew me, if they knew my church, if they knew our community and our denomination, like, good luck with that. I'm not a pedophile, and I have done everything in my pastoral ministry thus far to fight against hurting children. So it's completely laughable that they're trying to go after me with this.
You were concerned that protesters were going to show up. You said protesters did not actually show up. So
at your church on Sunday.
At the church, but you've received a bunch of hate mail, hate calls. Have you received any support?
Other pastors and.
Oh yeah, I've received tons of support. I'm really thankful. Lots of guys in the CREC have contacted me, supported me. My people are supportive. They're very proud of me for doing that. People who are not in our denomination have reached out to me also, and so it's been encouraging.
Can you tell me about more of the climate when you showed up on the scene? You said that it was pretty much the other side. The leftists were all out in droves. And you said you showed up with 2 other people from your church. Is that right? Were you guys the only Christians who were really there, or what was the makeup of the environment?
Yeah, I would probably say it was like it, from what I could tell, but it was hard to tell. But I would say if maybe 90% was pro-abortion, and maybe 10% were like pro-life Christians. There was some Catholics there. And I met a Lutheran pastor, and I'm sure that there was some other people there. I had one guy he tried to protect me in the middle of all that. He tried to step in, and so there was in comparison, there was very few people who were pro-life there.
What happened after this clip? So we see some of the end of it. How does it end? Does a crowd disperse? What happened after the police officer starts to break you guys up?
Yeah, what happened was right after that, I circled around. One gentleman wanted to interview me right on the spot. I had more voice left, so I needed to go get some water. I asked him who he was and who he was with. He said he was with like Iowans for Progress or something like that, and I just said, I'm not talking to you. And then later on, I gave some interviews, to some people. Why are you here today? I haven't yet seen any of those interviews on the internet. Hope maybe they're out there somewhere. But and then they continued to screech and scream and pound their drums or whatever and ring their bells and make a ruckus. And I just kind of walked up and down, and I was praying with some other families, praying alone, reading Psalm 94 against them, right? And then I tried eventually having another conversation with that pink-haired lady, and that didn't go well. Believe it or not, she's not very rational and was not looking to engage in a logical discussion.
How did that go? What happened?
Yeah, she basically just said that she has 3 children at home. And that if she wants to have an abortion because she doesn't want any children, because if she doesn't want them, then she doesn't have to have them. Is that she eventually said that a child's value and worth only comes when the woman wants the child. And so I tried to flip it and say, okay, well then the black slave, their value and worth only comes when the slave owner says that they have value. Otherwise, the slave owner can just kill the slave, right? And she's called me a racist for even suggesting such a thing. And I said, well, she said then, no, the slave, the black person has value because they're human. And I was like, well, you're exactly right. That's the exact point I'm trying to make. Right? That's the exact point I'm trying to make. So does the baby in the womb, the one whom you say has no value because you don't want it. it's a human being born in the image of, or created in the image of God, and this child has value and worth because of that. It doesn't come from your subjective opinion on whether or not you want this child or not.
Yeah.
They didn't want to deal with that.
Pastor Mike, you're in good company because those of us in Moscow have been called racists and pedophiles for many years.
20 going on 25 now. 25 years.
That's
So
real.
it sounds to me like you're making some really good progress. Speaking of Iowans for progress,
Yeah.
but what is? I mean, as you think about this, as you've meditated on this, I mean, what's your takeaways? What are your big takeaways? I mean, maybe it's starting to die down. Maybe this is kind of a flash, and you can get back to your usual. Hopefully, Lord's shine a little bit of light on your ministry. Maybe you're going to have some nice visitors join you. But what are some takeaways? I mean, if you had to do it again, would you do it the same way? And what about other people? Maybe who go through something similar. They find themselves on a 2-minute viral TikTok clip being accused of being a racist. They want to reinstate the slave trade or something crazy
Right.
like this. What do you say to what's your assessment of what happened, and what might you say to others who are going through something similar?
Yeah, I would say you should go prepared. I had no idea what I was going to do. I just was going to be present there, and God used me. But I think we definitely need a better strategy. One of the things that I looked at, I observed from the left, is that they are very, very organized. They are very strategically organized. They have also, the Governor Reynolds just signed the heartbeat bill again, but immediately it had it was thrown back into the courts, and so the headline today in the Des Moines Register is that it's already being blocked because it's being challenged in court. So they already had that paper ready to go.
Yep.
So Christians need to be way more organized. We're very disorganized. We had a few Catholic individuals were there, a few Protestant individuals were there, but there is nothing there saying, hey, let's come together, let's do this as a unit, let's have talking points, or anything like that. I think we could learn a lot about strategy, or we need to learn more about strategy. I think that could be helpful. So that was one takeaway that I had. And another, just a very simple takeaway was, watch your words. Someone, what I thought was a harmless rhetorical question,
Right.
turns into this. And so, be prepared. Be prepared for evil people to twist words. People who don't care about truth. People who only care about defaming Christ and destroying the church and breaking apart the family. They're going to do anything that they want. They're going to use any means necessary. So expect it. And then thirdly, I would say that we need to, it's very tempting to, feel bad for myself, oh no, these people they're saying horrible things about me and so forth and so on. But no, and I thank God for men like Doug and you guys who have led the way in this sort of thing. But, we need to fight with joy. The joy of the Lord is our strength. We need to laugh about it.
That's right.
When evil people rise up against the Lord and against his anointed, right? That's what God does. God laughs. Psalm 2. Mm-hmm. We can laugh with God. We can keep on fighting and laughing and feasting along the way. So those are kind of the main things that I took away from this whole thing.
Well, I want to add to that fighting's messy.
Right.
And that's one of the reasons why I think Christians have been so timid or so haven't engaged in culture and politics like they should have in these last 40 years is because, you get all the troops lined up out there and you see the battle's about to commence and, we better be careful one more step forward and we actually might be engaging in battle.
Yeah, right.
kind of thing. But fighting's messy. Going to these things I think are necessary for Christians, especially pastors,
right,
to be there getting involved and preaching the gospel as you're able in the midst of all the screaming and rioting. But that's kind of reminds me of Paul.
Right.
Yeah.
I was going to say the same thing. I think this is like straight out of the book of Acts. I mean, screaming great as Diana of the Ephesians for 3
2 hours.
Yeah,
Or
3 hours, whatever. It's like, no, we want to kill our babies that's the equivalent. Mm-hmm. And I agree. I mean, I think that we ought to be thoughtful and strategic but I also think there are moments where you find yourself in a situation that you weren't expecting and you want to be a faithful witness. Mm-hmm. I think the question you asked is a perfect question to ask. It's a perfect question to ask in a situation like this. They're talking about killing babies. So why is it wrong to mistreat children?
That's right.
And then the thing that I think many pastors and Christians don't understand, but this is something that the book of Acts is all about. Yeah. Is every time there's a riot breaks out, which I sometimes describe the book of Acts as evangelism by riot. Mm-hmm. Yeah. It's riot after riot after riot. It's controversy after controversy after controversy. Yeah. Every time it breaks out, and there's this big crowd, and then Paul preaches the gospel. Yeah. And then Peter preaches the gospel. John preaches the gospel. Stephen preaches the gospel.
And the churches grow.
And the churches grow. And Luke even is the kind of, like, Luke understands, like, he understands what we're all thinking, and most of us, and it's comforting to know that they thought the same way as most of us back then. It was like, everybody's about to think, oh no, this is the end of Christianity.
This is bad for the church.
This is bad for the church. This is bad PR. And almost every single time there's some kind of controversy, public riot or whatever, Luke adds a line that says, and 3,000, were baptized that day. And many of the priests believed. Mm-hmm. Many of the leading women of the city believed. Mm-hmm. Or all the brothers are greatly encouraged. And it's like, and it's after there's been a riot. Someone's been arrested. Yeah. Someone got thrown in jail. There was some kind of big controversy. And so I think, the thing that I would want to, encourage you in, but also just everybody watching or listening, not thinking, oh no, I don't ever want to do that. But no, if God puts you in that situation, God allows for something that you faithfully challenging the idols of our day. It goes viral, and everybody puts a microphone in your face. Right. Let's make a new bracelet that says, "And what would Paul do?" Right? He would preach Jesus. Yeah. Right. That's what. Right. Why'd you say that? Why'd you say what's wrong with pedophilia? Yeah. Because Jesus Christ came to this earth, lived, died, suffered, rose from the dead to make all things new, because our country is filled with evil, sin, wickedness. And we've left the Lordship of Christ behind. We've abandoned that. Yeah. So we're killing our own babies like a bunch of, backward, primitive,
and you bring up
tribes.
Pedophilia, and they're murdering their own babies. And what do they think of the Sound of Freedom?
Right.
Like the movie that just came out, if you responded and said, to them, have you watched The Sound of Freedom yet?
Yeah.
It's like, no,
it's a bad movie. It's a QAnon movie.
As I saw this, as soon as I went back and I started looking at the tweets and started reading what everybody was writing, I was surprisingly encouraged. And I'll give you this question in a second, but I want to set it up. Right now, it's been interesting that the thing that has turned some of the MAP, minor attracted persons, that they're trying to put the title on, pedophilia, right? It's been interesting because that has started coming in the last 3 years really strong. And the LGBTQI and that whole movement, they've kind of created this category of protected space for them. And since COVID, the whole drag queen story hour and the trans stuff, praise God for Matt Walsh and what he's done on this. What is a woman that's showing that they're trying to train. And so people are waking up and they're seeing some of the plays that are going right towards the trapping of kids for pedophilia, right? Saying,
we're coming for your children.
Yeah, right. We're here, we're queer, we're coming for your kids. So to see that now there's someone saying, oh, he's a pedophile. And then all these people are like, yeah, we don't like that. Has been like, oh, I thought you guys were going down this journey and really were going to accept all of this.
What about minor attracted
And so, yeah, exactly. And it seemed like that the left was going to swallow that whole.
Yeah.
And
Oh,
so,
they are.
And so, yeah.
Oh, they are. It's coming.
Yeah. And so right now,
coming.
it's encouraging to see that people who are not necessarily Christians still have a sense of humanity left in them that are saying, yeah, we don't want that.
Yeah, we don't want you to mutilate our kids.
We don't want you to mutilate our kids, and we
No
don't like the
grooming our
pedophilia
kids.
stuff, and
Yeah.
we're opposed to it. And so, in one sense, I was really encouraged that was like still there inside of the culture. My question is so it seems like the pro-life movement is winning when it comes to some of the laws that are there. We're still fighting stuff in court, but I don't think it's enough to win the legal battle. The battle that you had there on the floor in Iowa is another battle that we have to win too.
Yeah, the culture.
The culture battle. How are you, after experiencing this, thinking that we need to directly engage that battle?
Yeah, that's really good, Knox. I think that one of the ways that we need to do this is to be involved more in engaging people in difficult conversations. You know, shows like this also help a lot. Getting more Christians being involved more in media. I've kind of been I've neglected this in my own life. I really don't want to be I don't want to go viral. I don't want to be that guy.
Nobody
Fair
does.
enough.
No,
Fair enough.
we understand.
Yeah, we understand.
I want to be left alone. The problem is that they won't leave me alone. And so I've been going to a few times. I've been involved in my town. We got a transgender issue with a girl. She showed up at the pool topless, and while she was transitioning, I think she put tape over her breasts or something like that, and it's scandalized a whole bunch of people. And then the library things happening where they're trying to push, the books in the public library, and now the ACLU of Iowa has attacked the city council of different towns and cities, and they're trying to force them to change a zoning ordinance so that way they can have more drag shows.
Wow.
And I met with the mayor about these things, and I think that one way is, I don't know how effective it is, but I think it's worth doing, is trying to meet with the mayor, trying to meet with your council, city council members, talking to them, saying that they have a duty to protect its citizens, right? Protect the citizens of the city, of the town. That, most people who serve on these committees are just like, oh, well, I just want to help, pass, make the streets better, right? Make sure that the potholes are filled, or make sure that some innocuous, sort of things. But nobody's in a lot of these places, people aren't ready for the culture war. But it's there upon them, right? I think about like that phrase in Lord of the Rings, right? It's like war is upon you, whether you like it or not.
Right.
So talking to people about these things, talking to people in positions of authority about these things, promoting the lordship of Jesus Christ, showing them that there's a standard higher than their own opinions is necessary, and getting involved in just talking to everyday ordinary people about these things, I think is a good way to start.
Yeah, that's great.
Amen.
Dime Payments is a Christian-owned processing payment business. Every business needs a payment process system. So go to dimepayments.com/FLF and sign your business up. Working with them supports us. They won't cancel you like Stripe canceled President Trump. They won't cancel you like MailChimp canceled the Babylon Bee. Check them out. At least have a phone call. Tell them that Cross Politics sent you. Go to dimepayments.com/FLF.
Yeah, when you get involved in the culture wars, you want to make sure you have all your bases covered, and being able to make transactions with Dime Payments so you don't get canceled. Because these folks, if they'll lie about you on Twitter, they will go to your banking institutions and try and shut
saw
you
that in
down.
Canada.
And you heard it here first.
Yes, right.
Pastor Michael said, join the Fight Laugh Feast Club.
Hey, Pastor, where's your church at, and when can people come visit you?
Yeah.
Yeah, we're a Christ the Redeemer church in Pella, Iowa. Website is redeemerpella.org. And you can find us on Sunday mornings. Worship starts at 9:30 a.m.
I like that. Redeemer Pella.
Thank you, sir.
.org.
Appreciate
That's
you very
awesome.
much.
Yeah.
If you're
Way to go,
single,
Pastor Mike.
thank you,
married,
guys.
if you're married, have you some kids, and if you have kids, go baptize them.
Culture
And
war.
Until tomorrow, love God with all your heart, soul, mind, and strength. Love your neighbor as yourself. Go fight, laugh, and feast. This is Cross Politic.
The Word of God is living and active, sharper than any two-edged sword, piercing to the division of soul and of spirit, of joints and marrow. Through the Spirit, God's Word changes lives. It cuts us to the heart and reshapes us. As you strive to read and study Scripture, having a good set of tools can help. From setting reminders for a great reading plan, to word studies and commentaries that shed light on difficult passages, to listening on the go, the Olive Tree Bible app can help you dig into the Word wherever you are. Olive Tree Bible app. Read, study, listen, anywhere.